Then we're going to look ahead and give you my predictions for how it's going to go off in the round of 16. So in the round of 16, we've got some big matchups starting to happen. We've got extra time, we've got penalties, and like I said, some even more carnage. This is it. You lose, it's time to go home now, lads, no matter what has happened previously. So I'm going to share my round of 16 previews. Make sure to stick around to the end because that's when I'm going to get into the England one. And I think that one's going to be tasty. But I want to know your guys' predictions in the comments. I want to know how many that you got right. So I got 10 out of 16 correct in my original preview video for where they would finish and how they would progress into the next round. And this video is sponsored by our partners at Perimatch. Right, let's get into the first one then. Japan versus Croatia. Japan versus Croatia. Japan, they lost to Costa Rica, but beat Spain and beat Germany. How do you try to analyse how that happened? They only had 17% possession against Spain. They were absolutely clinical, and as well as having a very, very good defensive performance. Croatia have got experience in tournament football, and even though they've got an aging squad, they've still got some decent players. Modric, what is going on with him? He's still able to pull out dictating performances, and they've got Vardiol at the back. He looks absolutely marvellous. They are the favourites to beat Japan. And as much as I want to say I think Japan could do it, because I think they're very tight at the back and they're very, very technical, I just think Croatia are going to get themselves through in this one. I do think it'll be Croatia. Next up, Morocco versus Spain. Morocco have absolutely smashed it. They came out top of the group that had Belgium and Croatia in it. These were a shock, I think. Tournament organisers have said the World Cup is not just about Qatar, but it is for the region and the Islamic world as a whole. And Morocco's success is a big shining example of that one as well. Ziyech, Hakimi, these guys have been doing bits, and they're definitely decent. Spain, they've flattered to deceive a little bit. They've been poor. They were excellent against Costa Rica, but they've sort of limped out of the way the groups finished, obviously, with what happened in the Japan game as well. They lack a little bit of an edge, but I think they'll have enough to get through Morocco. You know, call me old-fashioned. I think they'll have enough to get through Morocco. So I'm going to say Spain, and that's two European teams I've got going through there, which I don't think that'll continue. Well, it's going to continue the next one because it's two European teams playing each other. But I don't think it's going to continue quite that way for the rest of my predictions. So I'm going to say Spain, but I think that one will be tight. And that one might need to go to penalties, actually, because I think they're lacking a little bit of goals at either end in both of those teams. Portugal versus Switzerland. Portugal had already qualified. They phoned it in essentially for the final game, but they look really good. Bruno's in form. A couple of other players have really started picking up the pace for Portugal as well. Switzerland have got some decent players, Shaqiri, Xhaka and Bolo, and they've got a real vibe about them. They could cause an upset, but not this time. Portugal are going to have enough just to get through them there. So I think Spain, Portugal and Croatia, the first three in the hat. And this is another one that I got correct. Korea going through and facing against Brazil. Brazil, in the last group game against Cameroon, didn't really show up, but they didn't need to. So I don't know how much of it was mentally taking it off. We still don't know when Neymar's going to be fit. He might not be back for this game. Richarlison's playing better than anyone thought. Actually, Martinelli had a pretty decent game, to be fair to him. I don't really rate Martinelli. If Neymar comes back, it's definitely going to be Brazil. Otherwise, you've got Son is a threat. Kim Min-jae has had some decent performances. It took them until the second game to have a shot on target. And then they just became exciting all of a sudden, Korea. I think Brazil are taking this one. Let's not be hipster about this. I think Brazil are going to go through in that one. So there we go, Brazil going through against South Korea. Then we've got Netherlands against the USA. Netherlands should be strong favourites going into this one, but I think the athleticism of the USA, and this was like we had in the original preview video, is these in this order. They scored 5 goals in qualifying, and they've had some shaky moments. They were pretty unconvincing against Senegal, but they do have some dangerous players. Gakpo's got 3 in 3. He's clearly as confident as ever. USA were workmanlike. I don't know if I'm prejudiced here by how England performed against USA. I think Dutch will have enough. So I'm going to say Holland are going to find their way through in this one. Argentina versus Australia. Australia were just about trying to win a single game at this World Cup. So the fact that they found themselves in the qualifying, it means a couple of things. One, it means they've achieved what they set out to do. And that might mean that they coast from now on, but it also means that there is no pressure on them to go any further from here. And Argentina have looked fallible. Now, I had Argentina as one of the 4 teams that I would be picking for this. Argentina, Brazil, France, Portugal. That's who I think are going to win this. But I'm going to just pull Argentina back just a little bit until I see something else from them. I think they're not quite sure of themselves and they're not quite looking like an oiled machine. This one might take a last-minute winner. I think Argentina get the job done, but I think it takes a last-minute winner. And if I was to pick one game where I say there's going to be an upset in this game, this is the game I could see an upset happening in. I could see Australia getting a result against Argentina. I really could. But it also wouldn't surprise me that Argentina just got bosh and 4-5-0 them. France versus Poland. France definitely have been the team that have impressed, and they rested pretty much most of their team in the final group stage. I think it would be impossible for France to go out to Poland, but World Cup, 90 minutes, anything could happen. Without getting too hipster about it, France are going through. They are. And then England versus Senegal. Now, again, this is another fixture that we predicted would happen, and it has. Let's start with Senegal. So the kind of side that did what you probably would have expected them to do. They lose the Netherlands and they beat Qatar and they beat Ecuador. So have they done anything that you're thinking, oh, that's a bit scary? No, not really. They've been pretty impressive without Mane. I thought without Mane they could be in real trouble, but they've been still pretty impressive. They've obviously got Koulibaly, who's had a decent partnership with Diallo at the back, but their defending has been erratic, even though it's been backed to the wall for a lot of the tournament. Without Idrissa Gueye and Kouyaté in midfield, they're going to struggle in midfield against England. They're going to try and low block and hit on the counter-attack. They've got some pace on the counter-attack, so they could definitely hurt England, but I think this is going to be... I think Southgate's going to bore us. I think it's 0-0 at half-time, England win it 2-0. But the big question here is, does Southgate have the bollocks to play Marcus Rashford? Because for me, I think that this is where Southgate massively fucks all of this up. He knows who the better players are, but he just decides he's going to go with whatever. It's disappointing. But anyway, that's my predictions. Let me know in the comments, do you agree or disagree? I've got England, France, Argentina, Netherlands, Brazil, Portugal, Spain, and Croatia going through to the next round. Let me know if you've got any of those going different. I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms.